pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Ken, we'll have a moment of silence for invocation. All right. And here they come. Committee. Commenting. All right, so we have public comment thing, and Nancy, you're first. You're on top of the list.
Let's take it. I have 3 minutes. Is that right?
Yeah, something like that. We're not real active.
Okay. All right. I'll try to make it short and sweet and to the point, okay? Jim always tells me, don't go chasing rabbits, so I'm not gonna chase any rabbits tonight. Okay. I don't believe I gave why I'm speaking tonight, so I'm just gonna sort of play it by ear. I want to say one thing to begin with, that on I believe it was the 15th of July, I met with our new town, what's that title again, Pat? Administrator.
Yes, ma'am.
And we discussed the tree on the corner of Main and Church Street. Okay, West Main and Church Street.
What about the tree?
The tree is dead. 2 of them. We don't want just one gone, we want 2 gone. Okay, the town administrator and I discussed this at the meeting that we had together. He came up with 1 or 2, I think, suggestions that he had in meeting this problem that I see as a problem. It's actually a safety hazard if you want to look at it in that way. And if I'm not mistaken, one of maybe our policemen arrested a woman standing under that tree or there in that vicinity. It would have been a shame if that tree would have fallen then, wouldn't it? If someone had been standing there. Okay. I know it's on private property. The town tells me, or I should put it this way, the town board has told me that there's nothing that they can actually do on their own. I question that, I really do. It is a health hazard. It's an accident waiting to happen. It really is, and it needs to be taken care of. Forget about how it looks. It needs to be taken care of. And I have one other thing I did not discuss with our town administrator, and that was on West Main Street sidewalk right past the post office, okay? I know again there is private property. I don't know who is responsible for that sidewalk, whether it's the town or the property owners in each section there or what. But this one section, I'm sure if the town would decide as a board here that they want to fix that, they could do it. They could fix it. It has been in disrepair for many years. It really has. And if you want to make senior citizens safer by coming to that post office to get our mail, you'll do something about that. There's loose gravel. You got out of the car and there's a loose gravel, okay? It needs to be taken care of. Now, I see down here, something is to be, what is it? What am I looking at? Paving, on Clement Park, okay? You know, it would take very little cement to fix that, very little. And I'd appreciate if you do it as soon as possible, I really would. And that's it. Now, the town administrator told me during this meeting, it's gonna be taken care of. That tree is coming down, still there. That tree is still there. And it's just, in fact, Pat, I believe that day you said, I believe it's leaning a little bit more. Did you not?
It's leaning more now than it was then, I promise.
Okay. So there is time, a decision needs to be made. I'm a citizen of Cleveland. I am a senior citizen. I go down there on a daily basis for, if not to water those darn plants, but to check the mail. So on a daily basis, I'm there, and I'm going by that same old tree. I think you need to make a decision, and I'd like to hear one before I leave tonight. I really
Fair
would.
enough.
On both, that tree and that sidewalk.
Where on the sidewalk? I don't know where at.
At the post, door,
Okay,
up, past the mailbox, the post office, my goodness, I'm getting to where I can't even talk. The empty space there, right now, it looks like a junkyard. The building. And the gentleman that owns that, I know he's elderly, and he's not gonna do anything about it. And so you need to make this decision, come up with a decision to do something about it. And that's what, not only with the sidewalk, but that darn tree.
fair enough.
And I say it needs to go down.
The sidewalk where the
Anyone else
mailbox
for
is?
me?
Miss
I don't know.
Nancy, Miss Nancy, you're talking about where the,
in front of Mr.
I guess,
Ward's.
where that man has, I guess it's consignment shop?
Yes.
Oh, right there, okay.
You walk there,
Mhm.
and it's loose gravel there that, I had back surgery, so I have a problem walking. And if I fall, I'm coming to get Pat. I'm coming to get him,
Okay.
okay? It needs, you know, that's to make it safer for the citizens of Cleveland. The town of Cleveland, not down Bear Poplar Road or Amity Hill Road, the citizens of Cleveland who go there to get their mail.
Jeanette, after the meeting, you wanna ride up there?
I will,
Okay.
Take a look at it.
I will.
All right, Alex, you're next. I like putting you on the spot.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
My name's Alex. I'm with Xeris, representing Xeris. We are a fiber optic internet company, just trying to spread out the word. You guys now have another option for internet. I've come by as much as possible, doors, leaving information, everything like that. I'm still working the area. We're passing over 200 homes here, with fiber optic internet, so it's taken me a little bit longer than I expected. Trying to work it out. I do have some speed charts, everything like that, in case you guys have questions. I can pass out my card also, in case you guys want to have somebody directly to talk to. I am going to be the rep here in the area, so just trying to get awareness out, letting you guys know you guys have that new option for internet out here now. So
Hey, question before you go. Price. 1 gig is what?
1 gig would be $69.99,
Okay.
and that's not a promo offer like other companies would do. Maybe a 1 year or 2 year, and then raise up price. It's a flat rated fee. It's been like that for, I mean, in Yadkin, we've had fiber 5-10 years. It's been the flat same fee for it. So we have cheaper options for those that are barely using the internet inside of the home. We have lower options. We have higher ones for those that have gamers, a lot of streaming, anything like that in the home also. But options are there for you guys now out here. So.
Thank
Could
you.
you
Thank
leave
you.
us your card?
Yeah. I have a couple cards. I don't know who.
And if you want to, I would get a lot of them and
And sit
leave
on
them
that
out
table
on
out
that
there.
table
Okay,
out there.
I can definitely do that.
So this
I
one-
actually had you guys install, I just got a question for you after.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. No problem.
Oh, you got it already?
Yes, he was down there.
Oh.
He's closer to Yadkin. That's how it
Thank
is.
you, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
thank you. Gina, it's you.
Migrating tools.
Hey, everybody. I know you know who I am. I'm Gina Gabriel, and I live on Bear Poplar Road. I actually had talked to Ms. Rankin at the concert about Depot Street. Where the vendors park between the street and there, that is a walking hazard. People like me that have trouble walking. Every month, I hope there's gonna be something done with all that broken up, unlevel stuff, and it's not. And the other side looks beautiful with the new sidewalk and the curbing, but all the vendors and everything that you wanna go to is over on the other side. And so, I really wish that y'all would make that a top priority before next year. I saw in the town letter that I don't know if you're getting ready to start the amphitheater or whatever. So I must say, I like it being on the street, but that's just me. I like sitting on the street and watching the concerts. But the amphitheater will be fine, but y'all need to do something with that horrible unlevel. Because I'm with Nancy about the sidewalk in front of the post office. It's bad too. But when somebody falls, then it's too late to be proactive and take care of it. You know, you need to take care of stuff like that before anything happens. And so the trees and that I do agree with. And so I would like your attention on the Depot Street because I love the concerts. And I want to continue to come as much as I can. But every month I worry about falling. And Pat knows I've already fell one time behind the.
We're not gonna talk about that.
Yep, I've already fallen one time. So I wish you'd take care of that. Now, my second concern, and maybe it's not a concern, but I want clarification. I just found out a few days ago that Pat has become town administrator. I had no idea it had happened. I don't remember reading anything in the newsletters. I thought that was like supposed to be open for bids or people applying for the job, however that works. And I was really surprised that our small town needs a full-time administrator. And I'm talking to all of you because I want y'all to hear me. We don't need a full-time administrator. And maybe y'all think we do, that we're growing, undoubtedly you do because you voted for it. Second of all, the salary is ridiculous for Cleveland. And that's how I feel about it. And like I say, it's new to me because I just found out about it just a few days ago. So I don't know how long you've been doing the administrator job, but I don't think many people know about it. And to me, that's sneaky business. And so y'all need to be more upfront. and, you know, at least put it in the newsletter so we know. Put it on your website, on Facebook. You just need to be upfront with us citizens. And beautification, the lights are great, but the sidewalks, there's still work needs to be done. But throwing in a full-time administrator, I don't understand why we need it. And so I think that needs to be explained. And so that's all I gotta say.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we'll go to announcements is the next thing on the agenda. First thing under the announcements, Duke Power's supposed to be here in the morning, cut that tree down. That's the first thing. Travis was with me when I talked to Joe Crafter this afternoon. I've gone back and forth with him. He said, barring another storm or a tree getting blown down somewhere else, they'll be here in the morning. They were supposed to be here Friday. They're gonna cut them both. The agreement is they get them below the lines and then we can take them down, but we can't take them down above the lines. So they'll be here in the morning unless there's a storm somewhere and something else takes precedence, which has kind of held us up for the last little bit. Don't forget this week, school is starting, so while you're all out touring, I just came from Salisbury and everybody has open house tonight, so be cognitive of that. Dancing on Depot is again this month. It is the 22nd, I think that's correct, and it is British Invasion. That is, they play a lot of stuff from Europe, a lot of 80s and things like that. Oh, let me see what else we have. Also this month on the 17th, I say it right, is it this month? We have the opening of the Story Walk, which we did with Rowan Literacy and Healthy Rowan. It's going at the small park up here, and we will be putting in the Story Walk. Kids will come by. It is the book, and this first one will be on Cleveland, and it changes. They change it every month and do all of that for me. You also see that you have new benches and things like that. That was made possible by a grant from the Robinson Foundation. They looked after that and did that for us. Also, Gina, to your sidewalk down Depot Street, we just turned in a grant last week. DOT had contacted us to do that one, put new curb and gutter in, and to redo that sidewalk to the tune of $437,000. So that'll tell you what's going there. But it's grant money, and Phil Conrad came by here the other day and filled it out for us. That was even nice enough for him to do that. So yeah, that's bad. The gravel running out. I wasn't aware of the one in front of Mr. Ward's building, but that's something we'll check on here in just a minute, make sure that's taken care of. We also are doing a study now, Moss and Ross. I hope a lot of you have answered survey questions about that. It's giving us a lot of feedback there, and I think that's it for today. Call me again Thursday and I can give you an update on that. Has anybody else got any other announcements they're aware of? Cool beans. All right. I have the consent agenda. It should be in front of you. Should have it. If I can, I'd entertain it. Oh, don't go away. Need a motion to either accept or deny that.
I'll make a motion we accept it as presented.
All righty.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, we need to call a public hearing, need a motion to go that direction.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor signify by aye. Opposed, like sign. All right, in this public hearing, we'll speak on moving the high grass ordinance from 14 down to 12 inches. We all know, I mean, lately it's been a flood. It's hard to deal with, but it does need to be tightened up a little bit, and that's the whole intent of this. So that, anybody else here to speak to that other than what I just said?
Layout and ordinance.
Nobody here. All they want to talk about is sewer. They don't even want to talk about anything else.
Well, by the time, just give it kind of a back. By the time we send the letters for the high grass, after it's 14 inches, it's close to 2 foot by the time any of that's even answered. So we're just tightening that up to hopefully get ahead of it a little bit better. So that's the whole backstory on that deal.
All right, Yeah,
I do have a
Yep,
question
yeah, I do too.
myself about that whole ordinance. Does that include people blowing grass clippings into the street?
into the trees.
Yeah.
no, no.
We have a few people on our street they have a bad habit of blowing it right in the street, and then just leaving it there.
In Hilldale?
Yeah.
It dries up and blows back off.
Yeah, but it's against the law.
Yeah,
It's a
that
safety
too.
hazard.
That too.
They sure do.
Boy, don't they? Yeah, they do. Motorcycle nightmare. I promise you, motorcycle nightmare.
What is,
All right, is there anything else
Yeah,
public
why don't
hearing?
we
All
decide
right,
to go
we,
back to 12?
we'll close the public hearing, so
Huh?
now,
what, we decide to go back to 12?
He just said.
I just explained.
I know that, but somebody complain or
just trying to tighten it up.
tighten it up, okay?
Just tired of people letting it get
2 feet high.
2 foot high.
'Cause by
And
the time they get their notice and all that, it's already 2 feet.
Yeah, I understand.
so,
It used to
All
be
right,
24.
we'll close the public hearing. And, we need to, either have a motion to.
I'll make a motion, we adopt the
Text amendment.
text amendment to go to 14, or 12 inches instead of 14.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right. Number 8 on your agenda is the certificate of sufficiency, which is saying that Kelly did her work for these and sent all the information out to the property owners for annexation. So they've been notified. They've all signed and said they're part of it. So what we need to do is accept that certificate, her letter.
I'll make a
And she
motion, we
does it.
accept the certificate of sufficiency.
Need a second?
Second that.
All right, motion is second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Opposed, like sign. All right, that being said, we need to set a public hearing for parcels number 265-004-018, 021, 023, 027, and 050, even though they're all one spot. They're kind of across from,
The
across
Brown
from,
place.
it's the Brown property, across from Freightliner or up Hammond Hill Road.
I'll make a motion, we set the public hearing for our next meeting, which is, what date, what's that date? What? 14th.
All right.
Next month.
All right, we have a motion to set the public hearing. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion to second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. It's your turn, Tia.
Well, I just want to thank everyone for letting us come and present tonight. We do have 2 separate presentations or 2 separate projects we will be presenting on. So the first one will be specifically on the wastewater treatment plant and our engineering alternatives analysis that we did for that one. The second project we'll be presenting on is the AIA, which is the asset inventory assessment that we did on both the water system and the sewer system. I generally send them in, but I'll go ahead and give a quick update on the 2 other projects we're currently working on for Cleveland as well. The depot tank project is, the notice to proceed date was today, so that one they should be actually starting on that one soon.
Thursday.
It's Thursday. Well,
Thursday they'll be here, I think.
Okay,
Unless the
they're-
weather's bad and they can't get from the eastern part of the state. Thursday.
Okay, so they'll actually be starting on Thursday. then.
Yes.
And then we also have the wastewater disinfection project, which that one we're just kind of holding on for the moment to see if there's any potential for funding that we can get on that project. But the first presentation will be presented by Lily. She's been doing a lot of work on this analysis and digging into your wastewater treatment plant to try and come up with the best solution for it. So I'll pass it off to her.
All right. Good evening. Thank you again for letting us come present tonight. As Tia said, I'm Lily, and I'll be presenting on our engineering alternative analysis for the wastewater treatment plant. All right, so kind of an agenda here. We'll start with kind of an overview of the NPDES permit modification and renewal process, just to give you some kind of context for this analysis and this report. And then we'll go into some flow projections, some of your influent wastewater characteristics and parameters, and then kind of get to the actual alternative analysis that we looked at, and then into our proposed improvements for the plant, and then have a chance to answer any questions that you have. All right, so just to kind of to give you guys some context of why we're doing this and the whole modification / renewal process. So the town of Cleveland is currently permitted for 0.27 MGD. So per the state classifications, it is considered a minor MPDES discharge permit. And so because we want to look at expanding that permit, we would go, that is considered a major MPDES modification. So basically we're trying to get a major modification to a minor permit. So typically how this works is for a major modification, we fill out a form that is the same as your renewal form that you typically fill out to renew your permit, with this engineering alternatives analysis report appended to it. Actually your renewal is coming up March of 2027. So McGill kind of proposed, instead of doing a separate process and you guys filling out the form and then doing the renewal, since it's kind of happening concurrently, that we just do the modification and the renewal at the same time. So that saves an application fee for the modification, and just kind of makes that process a little bit easier. All right, so getting into flow projections, so this is kind of a big part of the engineering alternatives analysis, and this is kind of our justification for why we need to expand the permit. And so the two different flows that we are requesting as part of this permit modification is a phase 1 going from 0.27 to 0.6 MGD, and then with a second phase of going to 0.9 MGD. So as you can see here, these flow projections kind of consist of two big components. We do population projections as per state guidance, and then the state provides us with specific flows that we are supposed to allocate per every additional person that we come up with on those population projections. So that is part of it. That is part of your commercial growth and your residential growth. But then we also have information that the town has given us about potential industries coming into town, and so that is also integrated into that new industrial and commercial growth. So as you can kind of see here, in roughly the next 7 to 8 years, we project that we'll hit 0.6 MGD, and then closer to the 20-year mark is the 0.9. And just to kind of preface too, this doesn't mean that the actual flows coming into the plant will be these numbers at these years, but this is more from an allocation standpoint, because you can't allocate more than you're permitted to. So this just kind of gives you an idea of how those allocations will all add up cumulatively over time over the next 20 years. All right, so influent wastewater characteristics. So this is kind of, this is a planning effort, and so kind of as we look at proposed improvements, a big part of that is looking into the data coming in on the influent and kind of what those characteristics look like. 3 big things that we look at when we're like starting preliminary design and planning efforts is flow, then your total suspended solids, and then your biochemical oxygen demand. And those are kind of the big 3 drivers of what proposed improvements we come up with. And so as you can see here, the town of Cleveland is a bit higher than typical domestic, so that just kind of gives you some context for kind of the things that we're looking at to try to fit the proposed improvements for that expanded flow on the existing site. Okay, so these are the 3 different alternatives that the state requires us to look at as part of the alternatives analysis. So first, connecting to an existing nearby sewer system. So you would continue, and just to preface with all of these, you would continue operating under your current permit and discharging 0.27 as you currently are, but that additional flow that we're requesting for the 0.6 and 0.9, all the additional would go to either an existing sewer system land application or a water reuse program. So starting with connecting to an existing sewer system, so as part of this process, McGill looked at kind of 3 different options to send flow to a nearby sewer system. We looked at 2 of Statesville's wastewater treatment plants, and then 1 in Salisbury on one of their treatment trains. And so looking at Fourth Creek and Statesville, they currently do not have capacity to accept any additional flow. So that treatment option would be ruled out. Third Creek does have capacity, but kind of looking at a preliminary method of transporting sewer there, you would be looking at over 9 miles of putting sewer transportation, lots of lift stations, and it just ultimately is not a very cost-effective option. So we ruled that option out. And then looking at Salisbury, potentially sending flow to their treatment train, and a lot of their infrastructure kind of going to that treatment train just does not have the capacity currently to accept any additional flow. So ultimately, connecting to any existing sewer system was ruled out just for cost-effective reasons for not only y'all, but just other municipalities, so that does not push them into any kind of major capital investment. All right, second kind of alternative we were looking at is land application. And so we did some preliminary looking at soil conditions and just some parcels that were available for purchase at the time that we were looking into this. And we did find one parcel that could have been an option for land application, but ultimately we did a present worth analysis on this option. And just to kind of preface too, the state requires us to do a present worth analysis for every alternative that we look at. And so that basically just takes into account operation and maintenance cost and inflation for 20 years, and then brings that back into the present, purely just to allow a good kind of method for comparing those alternatives. And so ultimately that was around $95 million. And as you'll see as we get later into the presentation, this was not a very cost-effective option in comparison to expanding your current plant and continuing to discharge. The third option that we were required to look at is a water reuse program. So we looked at kind of public options nearby that would kind of be in the same method of the land application with spray irrigation, but this is more of a public use program rather than the town purchasing land and then just land applying on that one parcel. And so we looked at a few options in town, and then that was not enough with just those parcels to accept all the additional flow that you would be requesting. And so above that, we looked at maybe a potential residential program to be able to utilize that flow for residential irrigation. But we did, based on some preliminary calculations, the number of customers that we estimate that you would need to be able to utilize all that flow is higher than what we projected in our 20-year population estimates. So we deemed this option technologically infeasible because of those reasons. All right, so getting into proposed improvements on your for your treatment plant. So just kind of two of the big drivers for a potential wastewater treatment plant expansion and project. One is to expand to accommodate your future growth and potential industries that come into town. You want to make sure that you have enough room to allocate flow to anyone who may come in and who needs that allocation. And then the second major reason is for upcoming nutrient removal limits. And so Third Creek is part of the High Rock Lake watershed. And so they are currently considered an impaired water because of excessive algal blooms. And so they are currently working to put nutrient limits on the High Rock Lake watershed. And so in preparation for that in the near future, that's also a big driver of doing improvements at your current plant. So for potential proposed improvements to the plant, McGill kind of explored two major options. And so that would either be staying on the existing site as you currently have your plant, or transporting sewer to a new parcel and pretty much building an entirely new plant. And so just some kind of like preliminary pros and cons of both of those options. Staying on the existing site, you know, it is around 3.7 acres, so you are constrained by space. And it will require a smaller footprint, kind of more so higher, more advanced, newer technology to be able to treat your influent parameters and your expanded flow on that current site. And so with the new site, you would definitely have more space available And you could kind of use more conventional treatment technology to treat that and still meet those stringent effluent limits that are coming. And so this is just a quick look at what a new proposed site layout would be. So we're proposing gravity sewer coming onto this new site and transporting flow that way. And then you would have your headwork structure, an influent pump station to pump kind of towards the top of this property, where you would have a splitter box going into a carousel oxidation ditch, and then you would have your clarifiers, and then disinfection. And so a big takeaway too of this this layout here is everything in blue is what would be proposed for doing that phase 1 going to 0.6 MGD, and then everything in red would be an additional phase 2 later that would get you to 0.9 MGD. And so this is kind of a preliminary layout of staying on the existing site. And so everything green is your current infrastructure on the plant site, and then everything in blue, like the previous layout, is that phase 1 expansion to 0.6 MGD, and then red is the additional phase 2 going to 0.9 MGD later in the future. So basically with this, this is kind of that smaller footprint, higher, more advanced technology that we would have to utilize staying on the existing site. So you can see the blue structure for the phase 1, that contains your aeration basins, your clarifiers, your aerobic digesters, but it's all a common walled system. And so that's kind of all that contained into that structure there. But we would still upgrade probably put in a new headwork structure to upgrade that and to allow for expanded flow, as well as a new chlorine contact basin to prepare for that expanded flow in a new operations building. So that's kind of an overview of our proposed improvements for staying on the existing site. All right, and so throughout kind of working through these two alternatives for proposed improvements, Miguel met with the town a few times and kind of discussed these options, and Miguel prepared a preliminary cost for both of those to kind of have a good comparison. And so we projected that doing the option of staying on the existing site would be $29,200,000. And then as you can see, going to a new site would cost in total $48,300,000. And kind of a big chunk of that, as you can see, is that $4+ million, which is just purely for transporting the sewer flow to that new parcel, as opposed to staying on the existing site. And so because of the large difference in cost, it was kind of decided to go with staying on the existing site and doing those proposed improvements. So that is what we are putting in the engineering alternatives analysis for the proposed improvements. All right, so this is kind of going back to that present worth analysis that we did for the land application option. So again, this is just required by the state to do present worth analysis for all of the alternatives that they require us to explore throughout this process. And so this is purely for a way to compare those two options. And as we said before, that land application present worth analysis was around $95 million. So this is taking in, again, O&M cost for 20 years and using a discount rate to bring that to the present to be able to compare that total investment. So, and this also, just to kind of note too, the $29 million cost that was said previously, that is for future phase 1 expansion to 0.6 MGD. This $39 million would be for the total 0.9. So that includes the 0.6 initial expansion and a future expansion to 0.9 MGD. And then, like I said, once we did kind of the present worth analysis and formula and using that discount rate with all of those O&M costs, that brings us to a present worth for the proposed improvements of roughly $50.5 million. And so just kind of to summarize all of these alternatives analysis and kind of coming to our conclusion, we deemed connecting to an existing sewer system cost prohibitive because of various plants not being able to accept any additional flow, and, you know, one that could potentially accept additional flow, it would just be a very large capital investment to send flow there. With the land application, we did the present worth analysis, but compared to doing improvements to your existing plant, it was deemed also cost prohibitive in comparison. The public water reuse program was deemed technologically infeasible just because of lack of area to be able to use spray irrigation for that in town. And then we are recommending a surface water discharge, so that would ultimately conclude with the state expanding your current NPDES permit to 0.6 with a future 0.9 limit if it is accepted. All right, so just a recap of everything. So the reason why we're doing this engineering alternatives analysis is because we are requesting a major permit modification to expand your flow to 0.6 and 0.9 eventually. And then based on the EA results, we are recommending a surface water discharge as opposed to the alternatives that we looked at, such as connecting to an existing sewer system, land application, or a public water reuse program. And so kind of going back to those two big drivers of a wastewater treatment plant improvements project would just be giving the town more capacity to allocate to future industries and population growth, and then also just being prepared for those incoming stringent effluent nutrient limits because of the High Rock Lake watershed nutrient system. And so after kind of evaluating the two different options for the proposed improvements, we kind of landed on expanding on the existing site because of cost reasons, and kind of there's that final cost again for that phase one project for going to 0.6 MGD on your current existing plant. All right, any questions?
You guys, yeah, I've seen this 2 or 3 times. You guys got any questions?
I've seen it too.
I mean, that's a stifling number for us, just to give you an idea, to service the debt. Service the debt, not pay back the debt. Service the debt's would cost each taxpayer $151 a month to service the debt. So therefore, grants have become ultimately important. The attraction of new business to bring jobs helps the state as far as the Department of Commerce, because that's the only people that have money that can swing like this. So that's another part of it. Have you guys talked to Noah since Thursday or Friday? Did he tell you that I had a plant that was looking at 300,000 gallons of sewer? Yes, I mumbled that really quietly, just because you thought you had the figures right. Did he tell you that?
He did mention that.
Okay, well, but I don't know that that's in there. That's starting out at about 60 or 70 to begin with.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, and then like 7 years ago, add another 280,000
Gotcha.
gallons to that and employ another 300 people.
Gotcha.
So just so you know, but I mean, there's nothing there. The state's brought them here. This is the 3rd or 4th time they've been here though, and they want the rail service, and we've got the largest site with rail service anywhere in the Charlotte region. So just one more thing to think about when you go to bed tonight. But that's it. Have you guys got any more questions about this? I mean, it is in front of us. If I think a smarter thing on the engineering side and our side too is by doing the existing site, we have to use more technology. But with them tightening up High Rock Lake's mineral content or what the
Nutrient.
yeah, we're going to have to up our game anyway. So I think we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone there. We just have to get money. We just presented that to Josh Stein last week, so we will see how that goes. I haven't heard anything back yet.
And also just to, just kind of for future, I've been working with John Ritchie to kind of fill out the 2A form that's required for the renewal and the modification. And so this report along with that form will be submitted to the state by September 1st.
Okay, cool beans. Any more questions of Lily? All righty. We'll let you off the hook.
All right.
For just a minute.
Thank you.
Yeah, y'all were too easy on her.
see.
We've been waiting on Tia the whole day, that's what it is, no, not at all.
All right, how do I get to it again?
She needs a button masher.
Get out of it. And this one over should be right behind it. Well, it was.
That's a good place to be.
Why is it not one over?
I mean, them ones that's all to the sea, you have no more.
All right, so kind of piggybacking off of what Lily talked about, it's not directly related. We did more of just your existing system. I will say before, we get into it, that because we did that analysis for the wastewater treatment plant, that was not included in this analysis of all of your other existing inventory and existing infrastructure. But for this project, you'll have myself presenting, I'm Tia, and then we'll also have Greg and Dale as well. And then I just have to call her out, but this is Kenley. She's our intern for the summer, so I gave her the opportunity to come and experience a council meeting.
With a K?
Yes, with a K.
I don't know, his daughter's 10 now, I'll never hear that.
Oh.
I'm telling my daughter's Ken.
So, to begin, as a whole, we all know that just infrastructure across the U.S. is it's aging. A lot of the systems are pretty old, and in 2025, the American Society of Civil Engineers actually gave the overall system a C, and wastewater got a D+. Because of this, just knowing like infrastructure is aging and that a lot of towns and municipalities are kind of struggling. North Carolina, back in the early 2000s, came up with the idea of starting an asset inventory assessment program. And so in 2015, they actually started to do the funding for the program, so that it gave the opportunity for municipalities to really know what's in their system, because there's many towns and cities that they don't really know what's in the ground. They don't know the sizes, they don't really know the location, or the age of what they are. So the program as a whole just kind of helps the town know what they have, so that maybe it gives them a better opportunity to know where the problems are, or to find the problems before it becomes a problem.
Good evening, y'all. My name's Greg again. One thing Tia didn't mention was that this is being done with grant money. The IA was grant money. So, I don't think you said that. No, I didn't. Okay. Some of that grant money you're looking for, it was used for this. The scope of this, as Tia said, did not, and this is the water, so I won't say that on the sewer, but a big part of what we did was the GIS mapping of the water system infrastructure. That includes tanks, hydrants, valves, and lines. You had a lot of that. We verified that. We also improved upon some of that and checked that with staff. He's not here, but I like to thank Jody. He helped out a lot with that. We created a risk matrix based on this data, and that's basically, I'll get into that a little bit further later. We prepared opinions of probable costs for improvements that we suggested that feed directly into this 10-year CIP plan, which later Dale will go over. And also a 10-year financial model of how to pay for that plan, because if you don't have a way to pay for it, then it's just a wish list. It's not anything worth working with. And then in the end, we'll prepare a report to summarize all this together, and we will present that to y'all, which is not ready at this moment, but we are working on that. Sewer system, same thing. I'm not going to go back through it again. This did not include the sewer plant as part of the scope, but it did include your pump stations, your sewer lines, manholes, those type of things. And again, all of this will be summed up in the end. And let me just say, if I get too fast, stop me. If you have questions along the way, stop me. This is very informal on my end. You feel free to ask me questions, because I know some of this is a little long and you may forget. I spoke of the risk matrix. This is the risk or scoring matrix. Everything is scored from 1 to 25. 1's going to be new or like new. 25, we got to do something about it. You have consequence of failure. That means if it fails, what's going to happen? And this is not specifically to your facilities, but the consequence of a 20-inch line failing is a lot more than a 1-inch line failing. That 20-inch line in sewer is an easy example. If 20-inch sewer line fails, that's gonna spill a lot of sewer. A 1-inch line fails, you're not gonna spill any sewer. Still a bad thing, you don't want to happen, but the consequence is not as bad. Likelihood. Likelihood's typically based on the age of the line, in this case line or piece of equipment, and the material it's possibly made out of. As things get older, they have a life expectancy. They may or may not fail. Jumping right into water, this is your water system, and these are just simple little graphs. Your system, as you can see, 53% of your system is age 21 to 30. That's relatively young system. And I'll get into what the material is later, but your average life, median life of most materials, I think, in your system is around that 60-year mark. So you're not there yet, but you need to start thinking, hey, sometime down the road, we're gonna start paying this. Whether that's keep money, start putting money aside, or go wait and get grants at the last minute, which you can't always count on, but just have to put that out there. And here's what I was speaking of, your materials. You're about 50-50 with ductile iron and PVC, two of the newer materials. Goes exactly with what you saw as your system. Your oldest part of your system is this CIP, which is cast iron pipe. The PEX that shows 0% is less than 1%. Is what it was. That's your smaller pipe that we picked up in the survey. We didn't, very little of that. And going back, also size. This is more about that consequence. Your largest pipe on the water size is an 8-inch. Yeah, I can half see there and half see there. It's kind of, do I put my glasses on, take them off? So, you know, as a whole, the 6 and 8 inches are most of your system. So the consequence is pretty even across the board. Other than, then I look at, and it's unique to each system. Is there a school on one of these lines? Is there a healthcare center on one of these? You know, a lot of people will say nurseries or daycares. Daycares are important, but you can take those kids home. Like a nursing home, you can't move those people out. It's a little more of a critical line than say, but there is a certain level of criticality at each area. You know, you don't want the mayor's line to fail. That's gonna be critical, because he's gonna be calling.
No, I'll be all right.
We also did the tanks. This is your Roseman tank, and yeah, let me make sure I got the right picture with the right one. I've got a little glare from here. This one was just redone, I think in 2024. Good looking tank. This is the depot tank, also a good looking tank, but in the process, as Tia told you, the notice to proceed has been sent out, and they're gonna start Thursday or sometime soon. So it'll also be painted. This is located, I think, behind your police department, next where it's at. Those are the only two tanks you have in the system, which is typical for the size system you have. No mechanical issues, saw nothing wrong with these. Later I rated these. They rated well. I would have rated it needed to be painted. And I always get the question, these are old tanks, and I don't have it here, I have it later. There is a life expectancy on tanks. I think you've exceeded it on this one. But I've told other cities this, if you're keeping the inside clean, which is required on a regular basis, and you're keeping the metal painted, it'll last as long as you want it to. It's just like any other metal. Now you're gonna have valves and stuff you're gonna have to replace and controls, those type of things, but the tank as a whole will last as long as you maintain it. As you all well know or may not know, your water comes from wells, ground wells. This is your Roseman well. You have your Mimosa, and you can see you add chemicals to it. And that's the depot well. So all three are your wells, yeah. All these, and I'll get to the assessment later, these are just some pictures of some of the things we assessed. All of them are in good shape. I will say, and I didn't say it earlier, I do appreciate the staff helping. Your system is well maintained on the surface. What I see that staff has done, keeping up the wells, keeping up the tanks, and doing the stuff that's visible, it's well maintained, the pump stations. Jumping right into the distribution system. This is all your distribution system, and I hope everybody can see that. The blue is all your distribution system, so top, out, and over. There's 3 colored lines, red, yellow, and green. These are 3 projects we identified, and this is just based on that risk matrix, that 1 to 25. I kind of jumped over here. This is your pump station assessment, and as I said earlier, this is out of place, 'cause I'm in the water. I'm gonna skip that and come back to it. Am I done with it? Okay, well, I wanted to touch on them one more. Those three projects, and that cost is later in the CIP. And these basically were based on, I can tell you right off the top of my head, the red was your cast. So that's why it's in there. I think it was put in 1977, if I recall. The green, I think, was also cast, and the yellow as well. That's North Depot Street for reference, South Depot Street, and that's Kreider Street. Okay, your pump stations, this is the sewer side. 4 pump stations, all of them in great condition. And even the oldest one there, 2008 was the oldest install. They're all in great condition. You did a good job of whoever, and I don't know who did the installs, but all of them look good. All the type of things I normally would write up at towns, I didn't see here. I liked it, like what I saw. Something I'll point out right off the hand, because a lot of people don't think about this. They all have generators, which is one big thing that the state tells you, but you wouldn't be surprised. You'd be surprised how many people don't have generators at the pump stations. You have cover over your controls. A lot of people don't think about that. They'll have metal, they have wood poles and no cover. I'll go ahead and say, and let me take a step back. I came from this industry. I started out in the wastewater industry and worked my way up till I finished my career as a public utilities director. So I was over public works and public utilities. So, you know, I've worked all the way through it, and the ease of working on these things is great, because you always end up working on them when it's the nastiest day, or Christmas Eve, it's raining, they never fail when it's good weather. So, but anyway, all these are good systems. As you can see, this is well maintained, everything's clean. Here's what I was talking about with the hood. This is aluminum hood, it's built to last a long time, instead of a lot of them build them with wood post and no cover. So all your electrical will last longer than its normal useful life, because it is protected additionally with the roof. I think I rated all these at like a 5. Johnstone, only thing I want to point out on Johnstone, and this is not a significant amount, you have a little grease there. That's what that gob is some grease has got in there, but that's the only evidence of grease I saw in any of them. And there's no ring of grease higher up in the well, so you don't have a grease issue, there's just some grease there. Simple, somebody putting some grease down the drain. Your sewer pipe, real simple, it's all 8-inch except for 1% of it's 12-inch. And I questioned that, but we went back and forth with Jody, and looks like it is 12. Again, very consistent. Sewer age, a little older. 41 to 50 years old, the whole system. Again, it's all the same pipe, but all put in at the same time. So you can anticipate having to replace it based on that median age all about the same time. It's good and bad. If you get ahead of it, start replacing a little bit as you go, you won't have that bill come due all at one time. Material, VCP is clay, vitrified clay. That's that old material. PVC is the newer stuff. Here's your sewer system. Did we not show my project on there? Yeah, okay, the red. Okay. And the green, the black dotted lines are the force mains. And your sewer plant's at the top. The line we're suggesting to replace is the line, which is listed as a 12-inch line going to the sewer plant. That's that consequence. If it fails, it's going to be the biggest spill. Plus, you won't want it to be able to convey everything to the wastewater plant. And if you do stay at the same place, that's going to be even more important. As a whole, the rest of the system, you're good. Everything looks good. You don't have a lot of I&I from what we've seen. Is this one me or you? Well, I'm going to let you talk and give that to you. Is there any questions before I move on? And then I'll come back even later to this.
So along with just assessing your system and what you actually have, we also did an assessment on your water and sewer funds as well, and the budget and your rates and everything, which we'll get into more of that later. But as a whole, you know, we looked at your entire water system and what all was involved. So your wells, your pumping, the storage. We looked at the sewer collection, and then we looked at your enterprise fund for the water and sewer, and obviously that is separate from your general fund. And you have about 350 residential customers and 55 non-residential customers, and your enterprise fund value is around $900,000. along with analyzing your system, we did a capital improvements plan. So that was kind of touched on a little bit with the projects that we proposed, and we put that within a capital improvements plan. Part of the AIA process is helping the towns to be able to create a capital improvement plan. And like some of the importance of having one is just, it helps you to know like what you need with your system. So knowing what's aging and what's out of date technology, what issues you might have. It helps with efficiency so that you can catch things earlier and not have to wait until it's too late. It's also growth needs, so expansion, any anticipation of population growth, and then also just regulatory needs, so changing and permitting and monitoring changes.
Okay, my name's Dale Sheepers, been with McGill for about 9 years. 30 years before that, I was, like some of you all, I was a public works director, utility director type, systems of 1,500 connections to 60,000 connections. So big and small, they're all the same. You got this much to do, you run out of money about here, and then you gotta balance the risk that we've determined and measured a bit here with the AIA and the way that we're going to manage the best we can with the resources we have available, okay? So one thing that I'll say about the list here is that nowhere on the list is something that we're just gonna wish for, right? If it's not the viability being aged out equipment, not doing the job, not able to do the job, efficiency is kind of a small section. Sometimes you can get some big gains on efficiency, but there's not that much to be had these days. You're kind of getting to the end of that curve. Satisfy growth. Everybody needs to satisfy growth if that's occurring, and we can plan for that, and we can make expansions and repairs and replacement and those sorts of things to accommodate. And then regulatory. If you can't keep your permit, there's not much point in being here. So nowhere on the list is there something for just to have it or to be nice. These are all the needs of the system, and that's how we quantify that. My mantra in 30 years and going on 40 years now is what gets measured gets managed, right? You can't measure it, there's no way you can manage it. I will also say that the biggest component of how you manage your utility is how you address the capital needs, right? $29 million, $49 million, $95 million, it's a lot of money, right? Doesn't grow on trees, haven't seen that yet. But if you can't get a handle on it, if you can't grasp it, if you can't measure it, if you can't do anything like that, you can't even begin to manage it. Okay, so again, if we're going to look for external sources of funding, we gotta know what those things are as well, okay? So it kind of comes full circle in how we're gonna manage our utility. So, up and down buttons are on here somewhere. Okay. So I do have a couple of items here as a handout. Tia talked a little bit about the capital improvements plan. Capital improvements plan is a 10-year capital needs, capital reinvestment, or expansion, one of the two, or both, for your utility, based on what we know about it, what we've measured, what we've assessed, and then the possibilities, the things that we have to consider as we move forward with those recommended capital improvements, okay? So the first page of your handout is the capital improvements plan. Put all that stuff together on a 10-year schedule. That's what you get. You get a plan that looks like that. And I will say that I did make one small boo-boo, and that is, you'll see the yellow highlights that I put on the page. Okay, one of them is highlighting about $35 million, and the other one is the definition of what that is. The highlighted cell just above it shouldn't have been blue, it should have been the salmon color down there in the legend. Okay, so I quickly put a little highlight on that so you can associate those two together. So this capital improvements plan is based on the assumption that that $35 million investment, which is your wastewater treatment plant, it's 29.2 today, and inflation over the next 5 years gets you up to 35. Okay, so that will be primarily in the model assumption as a grant-funded or external source funding. Okay, so that's why the highlight's there, because I didn't put the right color on to begin with, but it also highlights the definition for you so you know that that's primarily a grant-funded project.
And just to note with this, so obviously with Lily's presentation, we said 29 million for the wastewater treatment plant. And we believe that that is a good inflation number if that project is to start soon, like start into design. But just for this planning purpose, we did put it out 5 years, which does escalate it a little bit in inflation. So if funding is in more of a near future, then we do believe that that 29 million is good. But because of inflation of construction costs and everything, we did add a little bit just for if it ends up being a little bit further in the future.
So what she's saying is we have to be conservative. Okay, so well, and I'll tell you, the model that I create for these things are based on conservative assumptions. First assumption is that, looking at your population and your number of connections over the years, your customer base grows at about 1%, roughly. Okay, so there's only two places you can get more money. Either you have more customers, or you get rates, right, to pay. Those are your only two choices. So if we overestimate one, then we're leaving the other short. Okay, so want to make sure that when I put a model together, you can look at this thing and say, well, if I agree with all the assumptions, that the assumptions make sense, then those numbers that I have on the future revenue increases are going to be believable. They're going to be reasonable. Okay, they're going to be somewhat attainable. Well, I will say they will be attainable. Okay, let me clarify that just in a couple minutes. All right, so any questions about the CIP? The other thing I'll say is that the systematic replacement of water and sewer lines that's coming up in the not too distant future, you'll see a couple of projects, the bottom two, the last two on the list on the water side of the equation up at the top. You'll see about $11 million in 11 plus. So that's after the 10-year planning period. There's always going to be something after whatever planning period you have. We've identified those things as part of your beginning points of the systematic replacement of all the water lines in town. Okay, so the other thing you might think about today is to begin to maybe set aside a few dollars, build a reserve fund of some sort, so you're building more resources for the day that you have to start that systematic replacement. Okay, you probably can't save enough money to pay cash for all of it, but you can build something that can then supplement so you don't have big rate shocks and those kind of things when the day comes, when that has to start happening. Okay, same thing on the sewer side. You look all the way down at the bottom, and there is a systematic sewer main replacement number 2 under collection infrastructure there for about $7 or $8 million. Same sort of thing. So that kind of gives us a bit of a target if that's what you'd like to look at a little bit more in the future. You can start thinking about that and saying, well, gee, what would be a good target to aim for? What would make some sense? And those things kind of give you a starting point. Okay? So any other questions before I dive into the next piece? Because then this is where it gets fun. This is where it gets fun. Okay? So the next thing I'll do is just kind of run through the basics of financial analysis. Number one, we review some historical information, some growth factors, and also rate adjustments that have taken place. Expense side of the equation, pretty straightforward. You have salaries and benefits you have to pay, operating expenses, capital improvement, and debt service. Right now, you have no debt service, which is a good thing. And then some key performance indicators. So also, again, what gets measured gets managed says, what am I gonna look at to say, does this even make sense, right? Is it reasonable? Is it pie in the sky, or is it something that could actually occur and be reasonable for our ratepayers? And we also make sure, because it is a separate enterprise fund by law, we can't subsidize that with a general fund, so it has to be self-sustaining. So we have to do what's called full cost recovery. If we can't get it from the ratepayers, then we're in violation of law, and we have to make adjustments to satisfy that. The last one I'll say is that there's also a key performance indicator that actually the local government commission uses, called the capital assets condition ratio, which says that if your assets have depreciated more than 50%, they're gonna send you a little nastygram and say, hey, what are you gonna do about this? Okay? And you can say, well, we have started a capital improvements plan to address this. So they will not bug you too much after that point, knowing that you are taking this into consideration and moving forward with a capital plan to start addressing those things. But it's a good indication of where you're at today, kind of how you got here, and then what do you need to do to make it a little better as you move forward. Okay? The other thing that I'll point out as well is that looking at the kind of the rest of the world, when we do put these assumptions and inputs together for the model, we have to assign an input for inflation and other things that are in the equation, the type of cost that happens to be, and the inflation factor we associate with that. So, believe it or not, the Bureau of Labor Statistics has a consumer price index expenditure category, very specific to what we're measuring and what we're deciding the inputs are going to be, looking at that inflation rate, and it's called the water and sewerage maintenance category. Okay, so this typically runs about 2 percentage points higher than CPI. Right now CPI is around 2.2, 2.4, something like that, and 2025 on this index, you're about 2% higher than that. So that being said, it shouldn't be much of a surprise if going forward, all things equal and nothing changing, that sort of thing, that if you don't have growth in your customer base, which is one way you can get revenue, right? The only other place you can get it is from rates. So rates would have to logically say, you're gonna need about 4% rate increase each year, because that's about what the CPI says this cost category is. I take my little numbers and put them all together, and it comes up to somewhere around 4%. So it shouldn't be a surprise that when we look at the next page, that you probably already peeked at, but you can go ahead and turn the page now, that you'll see that there's at least 4% there. Because we have something more than just operation and maintenance. We've got a capital plan that we have devised and inserted into the model. Okay? So, any questions? Am I going too fast? Okay. So, the chart looks like this. The bars are the expenses. We've got 4 different type of expenses. The top one, the purple, is cash financed capital improvements. That's just as it's defined as how you read it, that's cash that you have available to pay for whatever those capital improvements are. you have. So if you go back to the first page real quick, the things that are not highlighted on the capital improvement plan are those items that we are projecting as cash finance CIP. Right? So in other words, in this current fiscal year, 2027, we've got the tank rehabilitation project, right? No highlight, cash money, okay? And you'll say, gee, how does that happen? Okay, well, you look down the page, actually second page, let's go to the second page. On the second page, where we have all the dollars and cents, one of the key performance measures that I mentioned earlier was your fund balance. Okay, so if you look just above the chart, that data table right there called financial indicators, first one says fund balance tracker. Okay, right now you have $2.5 million in your fund balance. Okay, so then you'll notice that there's $280,000 that is shown in red. That's the amount that you have to make up from a rate increase recommended at 13% additional revenue, okay, which gives you additional dollars from that source. You're going to spend 380, and then the difference ends up being 280, which then comes out of fund balance. Okay, so you see how that works? That if we can, the model says that if we put money, extra money in with a rate increase or growth of your customer base, and then you pay all the expenses, including the cash finance CIP, and as you'll see a little further over to the right on projected debt service, which is again the blue ones that say we're going to have a little more debt, and those start getting paid in 2028 that we're forecasting. So once we put the new money in, take all those expenses back out, then fund balance makes up the difference. So if the number is black, going across there next to the ones that have the red parentheses, then money goes into the fund balance, it gets a little bigger. When it comes red, then it gets a little smaller, okay? So that's how the whole thing fits together. And then all the way at the bottom, you'll see the 10-year capital investment schedule, which is basically a recap of the CIP all in one spot. So you can use this page to say, here's what it looks like from fiscal year 26, which just ended, beginning in 27 going forward. For all those revenue components, you'll see a little bit of growth in operating revenue, which is system growth, new customers. New revenue is the revenue that's generated by the recommended rate adjustments, okay? Then in expenses, you've got those 4 columns defined. Your regular O&M, paying the salaries, paying the light bill and the chemical bills and all those sorts of things, and so forth. And then existing debt service, which you have none, and then projected debt service as those blue projects are completed and the debt service is calculated and put into the projection, okay? So then the other thing I'll point out is effect on customer bill. Right now, well, in 2026, FY 26, your 5,000 gallon residential water and sewer bill is 5,000 gallons. That's the benchmark we're gonna use. And I'll let you know what that is just in a moment. Then as you move across the page, that 15% rate increase you'll see underneath that next column in the effect on customer bill says that there was a 15% rate increase that generated more revenue, and the bill went from $80 to $92. The difference in that is $12 a month. Okay, that's what it does going across the board. So you see what the percentage increase is, and then what the effect is on the bill. So you can put it into context. If Duke Energy says you're getting a 12% increase, I'm gonna be a little mad because my bill is a couple $100 and 12% is quite a bit. $80, okay, it's still $12 a month, it's something, but just so we don't look at double-digit increases and say they're just impossible. use that to kind of keep it in context, okay? Okay, then bottom of the page is a summary of what do you have in the CIP, what am I getting for my money? You're having these rate increases, what am I getting? Well, it's $38 million worth of capital improvements over 10 years is what fits into the model. Okay? Any questions from there? Everybody still following? Okay, good. So, next thing is that, this is kind of small to read, but I'll go through it really quickly. In 2017, North Carolina did a water sewer utility master plan, identified all of the needs on both water and sewer utilities across the state, municipally owned, government owned, and then where shall we expect the dollars and cents to come from to fund those things? So with the, this is looking at available funding through the Department of Water Infrastructure that you all have filled out applications for and probably received some grant dollars here and there. Well, the AIA is one of them. So how much would you expect from those programs only to enter into the equation? And the answer is that you'll see the very small little black line on the side of the drop says that about 7 or 8% of water or sewer infrastructure funding through that state revolving process is grant dollars. The rest of it comes from ratepayers. Okay? Now, this doesn't take into account direct allocations, which is what you're working on for your sewer plant. But all other things being equal, that's how the terrain looks going forward. Okay? Now, the state is in the process of upgrading that, updating that master plan. So there'll be some newer numbers that fit into all this stuff, but that's really not gonna change much. Okay? So I guess my point here is if you think that the state's gonna have revolving money grants that are gonna fall out of the sky, the drops are gonna be kind of small compared to what is necessary from ratepayers. And this is across the state, that's not just here, that's everywhere. Okay? All right, so let's reel back just a little bit and just kind of look at a couple of performance indicators. Mentioned a little bit earlier the fund balance. That's a real good indication of the health of your utility fund. Typically, that percentage that you'll see on the handout, target is 35 to 50%, and you're at 230. And what that translates into on the bottom here on working days capital, if you translate that into, if we didn't have one more nickel of rate dollars coming in, how long can we pay the bills? Okay, so in 2027, we could pay the bills for 627 days. Okay, so very healthy fund balance. Now, the other side of that coin is, in this day and age in water and sewer infrastructure, it don't take long to spend a couple $1 million. Okay, so again, put it in perspective. So that is historical numbers up through 27, then projecting a couple years out. I hesitate from projecting 10 years out because things get pretty fuzzy pretty quickly with assumptions and those sorts of things. So I don't want to lead somebody to believe it's all going to be uphill and wonderful in a period of time when it might not perform that well. Okay? Operating ratio is just how many dollars you take in versus how many you spend. If it's greater than 1.0, then you're on the building side of your fund balance rather than the draining side of your fund balance. Okay, a couple other ones. I talked about this a little bit earlier, the asset condition ratio. That's again, if it's depreciated more than 50%, then you're on the watch list from our friends over at LGC. And what does it look like and what's the trend looking like? Well, you have an older system and it's going gonna trend downward. So you'll notice that it comes up a little bit because there are some capital improvements. They're gonna put money back into your assets and increase their value. And then immediately, you know, the year that you don't do anything, it's gonna drift down just a little bit. But over the 10 years, $37 million of capital improvements, that asset condition ratio is gonna go up. Okay, but this is just a little fluctuation here in the short term. The last one is sufficiency of revenue above debt. That one is, do we have enough money? Can we afford to pay more debt service? And right now, yes, the target, the maximum, this is kind of akin to you buy a house, how much of your income do you dedicate to the debt payments, the mortgage payments? Same sort of thing here, about 25%. So if you're inching up toward 25%, it's probably getting a little unaffordable, but right now you have no debt and there's very little in the first couple of 3 years going out. So that number is small, it's gonna stay that way. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, this is a summary of the rates going forward for the first 5 years using all the inputs and assumptions that I have in the model. Okay, and the next thought that I had in this process was, okay, what about the wastewater treatment plant and all those other things that we need to do? How do we kind of understand how this stuff fits together so we can manage things as we go forward? Okay, well, fortunately, our friends over at DWI, the Division of Water Infrastructure, they have an affordability benchmark, okay, and that's 2.5% of median household income, all right? And that's the light green line that's on the chart right here, okay? So what that means is our friends at DWI say that once we get to 2.5 MHI, you're kind of bordering on affordability with your rates for your customers, okay? Right now, you're a pretty fair distance below that. You're at 80, and I think the upper number there is about 120. So you're about $40 below what that 2.5 MHI is. Okay, so that's pretty comfortable, and if you could stay there, that'd be great. But you have a lot of capital improvements to do, and how much do we need from outside sources to make things fly, like the wastewater treatment plant, right? So what I did was I took the blue line, that corresponds to the rate increases that are on the handout that you have. Okay, so in other words, we're adjusting rates up over the next 5 years to get you to that, somewhere close to, reasonably close to that unaffordability threshold, right? Then we have to step back and say, all right, if this is kind of the most we can afford from our customers, then what do we need to do to float the boat, right? Because we have $35 million we gotta spend in the sewer plant, right? And I'll tell you the truth here, that I did make a calculation on what would you need for rate increases if you paid debt on the entire sewer plant yourself. Yeah, I'm with you, Pat. Okay, so if you had a conventional bank loan at 20 years, market rate, that would be 10 consecutive 40% rate increases. Okay, the $80 bill would go to about $660 in 10 years. Okay, out of the question, right? Okay, well, all right, next thing is we could get the same money borrowed from USDA, pay for it over 40 years. Reels it down a little bit, now it's 30% rate increases for 10 years straight. Still doesn't sound too good, right? Okay, so then you look on the other end of the equation and say, okay, how much cash do we need from external source to make this scenario fit? Okay? Answer is you need about 30 million. Okay? So that kind of all brings it together to, I believe, this is a reasonable outcome for the reasonable and justifiable inputs and assumptions that we've made to the model. Okay? Then the rest of the equation is that, excuse me, if we do one of two things, we can improve this a little bit more by building the sewer plant sooner rather than later, right? Because then we don't get inflation beating us up. Or you secure more dollars from your external source or sources. Okay? So that gives you, in my mind, some reasonable targets and measurements that you can work with. So you don't go asking for less than what you need, right? Or you don't stop short of continuing in your efforts to address those capital needs, only to find out that the balloon gets bigger as you move on and it becomes unaffordable, more unaffordable in the future. Okay? Pardon me? Oh, yeah. So let's just look real quick. In the report, you'll also have this. Just took a look at, you know what, that is the wrong one. You probably don't compare too well to Morganton. I do have handouts of that. Here's some neighbors that are closer than what I had up there. Sorry about that. But two things I'll point out here.
Do you have state average on there anywhere?
Yes. So again, we're using the 5,000 gallon bill. So it corresponds to the other financial model output summary that we have. And I will also mention, oops, sorry about that.
So we're right average, we're in the middle.
So these are some of your neighbors. You notice there's two entries for Cleveland. There's Cleveland and then Cleveland FY '27. So again, that's the 80 going up to 92 off of your other chart. And then this just kind of compares other folks in the neighborhood. And the dashed line vertically, okay, the UNC, University of North Carolina rates dashboard has a median value for each of the water and sewer rates across the state. There's about 470 utilities that they gather information from. And the median value, that's right in the middle of the road, of all 470 so that report. Okay? So first of all, that's another way to kind of look at that and say, well, you know, if our rates are pretty close to the median value right down the middle of the patch here across the entire state, I think most people could conclude that we're reasonably affordable if we're somewhere near that median value, right? Now, again, the other comparison here, that MHI today is about $120. Okay, so just to kind of put it in perspective as to where you're starting from and where you may be going with this. Okay, so in other words, right now today you're very reasonable with your rates, and through your next proposed rate increase that I had from FY '26 to FY '27, that one is still very affordable at that point. And then if you look at the next one, close. You're within $10 of that same median value, about 95. Okay, so this just kind of puts it into perspective as to where you're at and how you compare to others in the area in terms of where your water and sewer rates are. Okay?
Okay, state average is 94.82. What'd you say the 120 was the national average?
Well, 120 is, if I took 2.5% of your current MHI, that's the benchmark that DWI says is your threshold of affordability, right? So if I take 2.5 and a percent of your median household income, I come up with $120.
Okay.
Okay, so that's, if today you were at 2.5 MHI, the threshold of unaffordability, you'd have a water and sewer bill, 5,000 gallons, of $122.
And who is DWI again?
The
Department of
Division
Water.
of Water Infrastructure.
It's a government agency?
Yes, DEQ, state agency.
So that if they say we can afford it, we should be able to afford it, right?
Well,
That's just
That's-
average.
That's my
it.
pushback on that.
well, and again, where this comes from is when funding applications for construction are considered, that is the point where DWI assigns priority points to your application to get funding.
Gotcha.
Okay? Because if you wanna know the rest of the story, just look up affordability on water and sewer, and you'll go a long ways in a lot of different directions to try to figure out what does apply, what could apply, who says it should apply, and how should it apply. Okay? So this, again, this isn't me saying that everybody in the state of North Carolina, if they are at 2.5 MHI for their 5,000 gallon water and sewer bill, that's affordable, and I don't care who you are.
Exactly.
Well, that's not at all where I'm coming from. This is a number from the state agency that says this is where we start considering affordability in our review of applications.
So looking at this at 120 and we're at 80. We're 2/3 of the way there.
Right.
Okay.
And this just says that at the current situation that you have, if you were to allow well, if you would allow your rates to go to that 2.5, what would they be, right? And then what can you afford, which then in turn turns back to what's the minimum amount of external dollars that I need to put into the sewer plant, so I at least don't go past 2.5 MHI. If I get more than that, I stay below it a little more comfortably, right? But this gives you at least, one of the guardrails to say, we gotta stay away from this, and the way we can do that is by securing those external funds. Okay, does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, and another quick thing just to note is, these increases are based off of that 35 million, so it's $5 million that are coming out of your pocket. The goal is to get the treatment plant completely funded.
Right.
So then that would also change these markers, and there's other projects that we have called out in the CIP that we're saying are self-funded. So this isn't, this is a living document, it's
Right.
not something set in stone. This was just, with the intention that the treatment plant will be completely funded, then that will completely change all of these projected increases in the bills. So this is nothing of, set in stone that has to happen. But it's also just, you can't always count on free money, is another part of it. But on that note, are there any other further questions related to, what we've talked about and discussed tonight?
I think I'm good.
Hey, let me ask you guys before you go anywhere, compared to other towns our size, how do we rank? And I say that as far as infrastructure and the quality of our infrastructure.
Just overall the system.
Yeah. No, by
Age and
age and,
everything.
You have a fairly young system, well, I say that, I've run across one that was younger, and it's weird, it's like your whole sewer sewer system was probably some grant way back then that put
Yes.
the whole system in at one time. I've seen that in two other small towns.
that's exactly
Seems
what happened.
evident in some of the smaller towns. What the state, the Fed didn't think about when they did that was, okay, here, Cleveland, here's your system, you take care of it. We're not
They
gonna
didn't
tell
think
you that
about
you need to start
pieces
putting
of
money
maintenance. Yeah.
aside to continue to take care of it for the next 20, 30, 40 years. And I think a lot of cities are running into that now, and they're going, okay, we've got this, we know it's reaching end of life or getting there, or we're having problems, how do we pay for it? And I don't have an answer for that. That's what the plan is here's what you have to do. And I will point out, Tia said, that 13 or 12%, whatever that number was, that's paying for $7 million if those numbers are correct. But you also are paying for, I think, $1.5 million out of your pocket. So that's applaud to y'all that you got money to pay for three projects out of your pocket these days. And I will say your fund balance is healthy enough, you could maybe pay for more out of pocket, depending on where you're comfortable with that fund balance. But back to your question is, I see wide varieties. There's 100-year-old pipes out of the ground, in your area. There's old pipes, there's new pipes. I think Dale said the problem's big everywhere.
Well, and it's a balance. I mean, that's what I need to reinforce over and over and over. It's a balance. You've got risk over here, and you've got cost over here, and it's a balance. And if you have no idea how those things are kind of adding up, then there's no way you can address it. So this isn't the, follow my advice or you're gonna be in trouble, because you're not. But it also helps to put some markers on this thing to say, where are we exactly, right? We've got water and sewer pipes that are at least, the condition asset ratio says they're more than half depreciated now. Okay, then also in your CIP list, those future projects that are 11 plus, that's beginning a systematic replacement of both your water and sewer systems at 1% per year, which means it'll take you 100 years from that starting point to get it completely replaced. Which means if it's 30 years old now and 130, again, risk versus cost.
And I'm not gonna tell you, I'm not gonna sit up here, I've not looked inside your water lines, of course, I've not looked inside your sewer line. All I can do is go off the AWWA, American Water Works Association, and they say they have this average life, and that's what we base it off of. But a brand new pipe may fail tomorrow. 100-year-old pipe may last you, pipe may last you 100 years, but some, depending how it's bedded, how it's laid in, manufacturing of it, it could fail in the first couple of years. There's lots of variables that go into it. Best we can do is lay out this plan and say, hey, here's how to address it on a logical way, and then they'll of course try to put the finances with that. There's no cheap way around it. You can bury your head in the sand and wait till it fails and then scramble. And I will say you have a fairly good fund balance. I've stated that already. So that emergency repair, you can dip into your bank account and go fix. But not everybody has as healthy a fund balance as you guys have. I do applaud you again for that. You have about 65,000 feet of water line and about 65,000 feet of sewer line. It's almost identical if I recall.
Yeah, it is.
And as you can see, the numbers on sewer, sewer's a little more expensive to replace than
It's that engineering cost.
Yeah.
I couldn't help it, man. You walked into it. You walked into it. Just a little bit.
I'm okay with that.
You walked into that. I couldn't help you. No. I understand. There's that fall is awful important on that sewer line, though. Don't let anybody kid you. That fall is very important.
Yes, sir.
Guys, got any other
So
questions?
so much distance between other things with the sewer.
That's exactly right. Any other questions so far? Just expensive, isn't it? Does anybody know a bank we can rob? That's what I'm looking at. All right. I'm happy if you guys are.
And I don't think it was touched on, and I don't know if these spend much time, but there's also a water tank on that you guys have mentioned to our staff about out in the future potential
Right.
growth. And there's the thing, Dale alluded to, if you get that growth before then, the growth will help pay for some of that, or hopefully pay for all of it.
Right, and again, conservative, 1% growth, but as Greg just mentioned, if the
And then-
equation works, if we
Yeah.
build it, they will come, then if your growth increases, then that's a little bit less, and you have to rely on ratepayers to make up the difference if you have more customers.
So just like adding industry,
Mhm.
that helps us astronomically as far as paying for stuff like that.
It could, depends on the amount of water they use.
Right.
That may help you more on the tax side, which
Right.
again is separate, general fund separate. But yeah, if you get a big water user, which there's not a lot, there's not a lot of water users these days. But with the right water user, yeah, and you can even put some of the cost on them, that's not unheard of. Not unheard of at all. Data center comes in, I know it's a bad word. But data center comes in, they pick up a lot of these costs. I've seen it in my neighborhood. I mean, I've got two coming near me. I don't have. a
That
problem.
little Microsoft plants.
There's a Microsoft coming very close to me within 2 miles.
We had them. Y'all got them from us. How about that? Because we were sure
I live
doing
in
some
Catawba
begging.
County. We've got
We were
5
sure
people
doing
coming
some
in.
begging. That's exactly where it went, right to Catawba County. We were begging right up to that point. Oh, Lordy. Yeah, y'all
And I
were.
know we've already done with hers, but was there any more questions on the wastewater plant? for
No,
Linda?
I'm.
She covered it so well, I know.
It's okay. I can meet you face to face. It'll be all right. It'll be good. Thank you guys, though, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And we are working on a report related to this. It's in final draft. We have to submit it to DWI because of the funding first. Or first we submit it to them because of the funding. But in the next couple weeks, we will provide you with copies of the final draft. But we'll also send a copy of the draft to you before the final.
Hey, let me ask you something. If you guys can do this, and I don't know, because I know it's run on spreadsheet form, can you show me these same figures if we took the 30 million out? Just send me that. Although it wouldn't be with a line. I mean, just say, look, we took it out, just see how it would affect it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a
Yeah,
matter of,
I did that.
is it still bad?
Looks like a ski slope.
Well, you're saying
Well,
taking out the project?
If
as a
you
whole?
just
Take
took
out
the-
the free money.
No, take out the free money or take out the whole project?
No, I was just saying free money. No, we can't take out the project. That's for
Okay.
sure. No.
Oh, see it with
So
the
you're
free
saying
money?
borrow the 35 million plus the other little project?
Yeah, I just wanted, because right as you got it in here now, it's no
Okay.
cost to us. It's floating. Is that what you're telling me?
If you fund it all by debt, I can give you what that looks like.
Yeah, just, if you'll just do that and just throw it, just so I can just look at, I mean,
Are you up
So
for
do you want-
election this year?
no, it wouldn't matter. It's still, it is what it is. I know what it is. I just wonder,
Yeah,
because you can do it in a lot better than I can sit down and start over.
be happy to. So do you want the 20-year bank loan? You want the USDA 40-year loan?
How about we do just both of them? You
Both
just
of
do
them?
it,
Okay.
just print it. That's all I need is that line. I don't need anything else. I know it's just a change on the spreadsheet. That's a
you'll
much
get-
better than me writing a whole nother.
Yeah, I mean, you will get the entire
Oh,
page with all the numbers and the lines and the columns and all that stuff, identical to what you have, only with no external funding and a 20-year bank loan and a 40-year USDA loan.
that's what I was looking
Okay.
for. Thank, because
will
if
do
I'm gonna
that.
whine, I wanna whine at my highest level when I go ask for money. You understand? I wanna be loaded for bear while I'm in there asking. I don't wanna go in and say, well, maybe. I'm gonna go in there and say, look, how am I gonna do this, y'all? Here's my numbers.
Yeah, yeah.
That's,
And you can circle the projected water sewer bill out on the very far right-hand corner.
if you do that on this sheet, you're probably gonna have to turn it that way. I can tell you that 120 is gonna be way out of sight, way back there, I'm sure. But if you can do that, that'll work out great. Just so I know. That's all. I don't need it. It doesn't need to be real formal. Just a change of
Absolutely, happy to do it.
what's in there. Anybody else? Any other questions? Thank you guys for venturing from Hickory. I know it's a long drive all the way down 40 in the afternoon. Eat at Texas Roadhouse on the way home is better. But
We did also include, the resolution for this project, so you don't have the final report, but none of the information is changing.
Okay.
If you would like to, look at approving the resolution tonight, or if you'd rather do that at a future.
well, I'd rather us see it and then us do it at the next meeting.
Okay.
How about that? The next one's gonna be heartbreaking anyway. We'll just go ahead and break everybody's heart.
We just have to, the one thing is we have to make sure it's all done and completed, before December 31st, which
Okay.
obviously that does
Yeah,
still need it.
that'll cover us if we do that. That'll work.
Yeah, your reimbursement has to be sent to them prior to December 31st. That's not only, like, it has to be completely closed out.
Okay,
So that's the only.
okay, that'll be fine. That'll work. Your painting guys, I know Noah worked on some of that and all that, but please tell them they've been nothing but a pleasure to work with. I have had the opportunity for the last couple Sundays to spend a little time with them, and they've been really good. They thought I was gonna climb that water tower and take that lock off though, and I told them, no, that was out, it was raining, so I gave them a key, cause I wasn't climbing that water tower again. I've done it multiple times, but not in the rain, and, well, yeah, I started when I was about 11, you gotta understand, that's been a long time ago. If I climbed it now, you'd probably have to send a helicopter, cause I'd probably die up there on the rail, but that would be it. But thank you, guys, thank you. Any guys got any questions, concerns?
When, like I had asked before, just for what products are gonna be put on that water tower, so if we can get that to me at some point.
Tent, I know what it is, I've got it written down there,
Yeah, I
I'll give it to you
know.
tonight. I
That's
can
on
give
you.
what-
I mean,
It's not
it's
something I know.
Tanemic is.
That's the one I was looking for,
Tanemic.
Tanemic.
I'm sorry?
Tanemic is what
Yes,
who does
yes.
it.
Is that the brand name?
The specs are in the
'Cause I wanna look at the specs at some point, that's all.
Yeah, there's a contract book right on the table over there that we left with you guys today.
Awesome,
That's my paint guy,
that's what I do,
you know. That's what he does.
chemicals.
Are you familiar with the name?
No, it's not a PVG product, so.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Oh, yeah, so you done went Budweiser Miller over there, you done went crazy, you done went chocolate milk, white milk on him, you done killed him, you done went out of the realm there. All right, guys, thank you so much, I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Wasn't too many hard questions for you.
Question that it was well explained, but I've seen it all before, so it's not a wake up to me. All right, guys, what we'll do is we'll move on. If you look at, thank you guys again, Tia, Lil, all you guys, thank you, Greg, all you guys, thank you. I don't wanna thank Doug because it's too high. But everything else is good, thank you. All right, number 11, if we do this is to approve purchase, of cameras for accident inventory. It's the PO. Chief, can you explain these cameras, please, if you would? This is for you guys.
Body-worn cameras that all patrol officers use. It's a 5-year contract, and we're going into the 4th year of it, so it's already in the budget.
Yeah, we just need to approve the PO to pay for that.
I make a motion to approve the said PO.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second question.
Yeah,
So, both of these is added together? Okay.
there you go. All right, so you have in front of you your accident inventory and the PO. You see the amount, total amount. There's a motion, a second. Any other further discussion or questions? All those in favor signify by aye. Opposed, like sign. All right, one more thing, Chief, before you take off out here, the SRO contract, we approved it based on grants, and we need to approve the contract, right? We approved the contract pending.
Pending,
Conditional.
and we didn't have the contract when we approved the position. I believe Travis said, that it would go forward pending the reading of the contract. Well, now you should have a copy of that. I looked through it, but, I mean.
It's pretty straightforward with somebody else paying the bills.
And, I remember seeing in there that if the extra funding doesn't come through on that grant, that,
There's no obligation.
Yeah. Okay, so you have what's in front of you. I need a motion for us to accept it as presented there, please.
I'll make a motion to accept it as presented.
All right, there's the motion. Is there a second? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, number 13 is a maintenance truck quote. I have, on my screen don't work,
Two
I have
different trucks.
66,746, but I might have it wrong.
What's the difference between the two trucks and the quote, do you know?
Cab,
One's a-
4-door versus extended cab, or
Double cab.
double cab or extended cab, whichever way. however
One's a
they-
true crew cab, another one's a double, what they call a
One's
double
4
cab.
doors or not 4 doors?
No, it's still 4 doors, it's just
Half doors in
shorter.
fact, yeah.
The bigger one's probably better, right, Travis? you think?
You'll
I
gain
mean,
maybe
it's
on a
just,
resale.
it's just easier to get in and out of
Yeah,
them.
if you got full-size guys, if it's what I'm thinking, like, it's not the full-size.
We got some full-size guys.
Yeah, we got some full-size guys.
We got
I
some
mean,
full-size guys.
I mean, the difference isn't but
Couple thousand.
$2,000, so.
Yeah, and it should, and looking at bidding prices on trucks, which I did the other day when they're sold, your $2,000 comes back to you, basically on a bid, starting on the bid.
I'll make a motion, we approve the, crew cab at $66,766.42.
Yeah,
It's in the budget, so,
it's just a
I
matter
mean,
of,
yeah, it's in the budget, so.
yeah, this budget item, oh, we didn't put asterisks on it, my bad. All right, you've heard the motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
You have a motion, a second. Any other discussion, questions? All those in favor signify by aye. Opposed, like sign. All right, 14, we put this on here, and I just stuck it on it because we had to get multiple bids. We couldn't get but two, but if you'll see, this is to do the street. The road, if we use Smith now, Regional Asphalt has theirs all in one quote. If we did the street is 45. If you did the parking lot, parking lot's 57. I don't know, and we don't have to do either of them. We can leave it as it is. I don't know, how much Powell bill money, 38? Is that what we're at?
37 and something, but right at
Right at 38,000. My suggestion, I mean, considering how things are, is maybe pave the road and hold on, we'll do the parking lot later, or we can do it all at one time. If somebody will have to come out of fund balance, I don't know what you guys think. Open for suggestions.
I think we should do it in pieces.
Yep.
Is it, well, what's the cost saving difference between doing it all at once? You know, cause the equipment's already there, and I know that that's usually half the battle, right?
Yeah, it's divided into two things, so the road is 45, the parking lot's 57. There's more asphalt in the parking lot than there actually is in the road.
Sure.
Um,
I didn't know if there's two different costs though, like would they give you some?
No,
break
if they
or
were
they give
there
you
or
the
not
same
there,
price?
if we use Smith Brothers, the regional asphalt didn't break theirs out. Smith Brothers was $12,000 cheaper anyway, total cost. But I don't know, cause they do a good bit of work for us.
They do a lot of work.
They
They might
could
waive
be, I mean, if we did this year and then waited on Powell bill money and did some other things, then maybe we go back and do the parking lot later. I don't know, because the road makes a loop there,
Yeah.
and that is, correct me if I'm wrong, the only unpaved road in Cleveland.
It
That's
is.
on our Powell bill money.
Yeah.
Did I say that right,
Powell bill map.
Matt? Did I say that right, Kelly? That's the only unpaved road we have in the town, is the one that runs through the park. And it just had to be a gravel parking lot
I
on the
mean,
side for a little while. I don't care if you do
I'd
the whole
like to
thing.
pave the whole thing, cause we've been kicking this down the road
It's
forever.
only getting more expensive every year.
The only thing that keeps me from that is our fund balance,
In mathematical terms,
but it'll cost you more in the long run.
yes, the interest on fund balance will never catch the rate of inflation as we have it. So one way or the other, it's got to,
I mean, this is no different from when we did not do the walking trail.
it was 82,000 of concrete, and we ended up spending probably 200,000 asphalt.
So,
I'm fine either way, like I say, for the difference in while they're here,
is that them lining it too?
you know what,
Cause
I don't know.
that's gonna have to be lined.
I don't know if that's them lining it, but I'll check on that. You can do it contingent upon lining, or we'll go back and do the lining, or however you wanna do it. I
Well,
don't
I'm
know.
sure it don't have lining
It says
because.
lining included.
Does it have it in there? I didn't look at it,
Smith Brothers
cause
says lining included.
I'm still
Okay,
over here
well,
looking
if-
at the
if they-
sewer tank,
if-
trying not to throw up.
Line street striping.
Yes, cause you got to be able to
Differentiate.
differentiate from the road to the,
Either that or.
cause we have people parking all up in the road all the time now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm fine. If the line, is that in,
Smith Brothers says lining included.
Smith Brothers got the lining included.
I'm assuming that's the parking lot,
It says
lines
all
also.
line stripping included.
All lines are
Parking spots and also.
They would make
I'll make a motion, we go ahead and do it all.
I think that's a smarter move money
I
wise.
mean, I don't
Second.
like to spend that money, but I think in the long run, it'll cost you a lot more.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, the maintenance on that gravel is gonna catch us too, because it's about that time. So we have a motion for that, a second. Is there any other discussion now? We've just talked about it, and again, I know John, Travis can tell, we've been doing this for 12 years. I mean, and it's only going up and up and up, so.
We could have done the whole thing for about $25,000 when we first started talking about it.
Yeah. But that's behind us. So the motion is to approve Smith Brothers contract for $113.80 total. Is that right? We got it jotted down.
And we're taking some of that out of the POW bill
Yeah.
to pay for the road side of it.
Yep, which is, what we have in there is 38,000, which is about what
Right.
we get next year. So we'll take the 38 and go in there. So we'll leave 75 coming out of fund balance. There's your motion, second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Opposed, like sign. Okay, the wayfaring signs, the ones that are downtown, they were gifted to us, or grant, or however you wanna see it, but we really did not own them until we accept the signed resolution that says we own them and we have to take care of them now. We didn't have to take care of them or anything, so if somebody wanted to hit one, that was a good time until we say this.
Well, they were
Then,
free,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, they were free, so we don't have anything in them.
Those are the signs leading into the town?
Those signs, the two welcome to Cleveland signs, and all the signs that are down through town saying,
I'll make a motion, we accept the resolution.
Kelly's got the resolution there in front of us, all right. We have a motion, and we have a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, I need a motion to go to closed
So
session.
moved.
Is there a second? Thank you much. All right.
Use the restroom right quick.
And Travis has to stop.
Yeah, I have,
behind, yeah, you got that, got them airport, can't go through security hips now.
Well, I've always had those, but now, you used to get a card years ago, now they don't even bother, they can tell what's inside you when they walk through them things.
Which scares me. That just absolutely scares me.
Yeah.
All right, we're back in open session. Let me go back to something I absolutely missed, is 15, which is the application to the planning and zoning board. We had 2 applicants and 2 people's terms running up. Am I saying that correctly? And those 2 applicants, we can do them individually, we can do them together, but, we have 2 that we need to reappoint because their term's coming up. John is on the board, and he's also the representative from this board to that board, and then his dad, Jim, is the alternate. And so we need to.
I'll make a motion, we approve
Yeah.
both of those applications.
Second.
All right, so you have a motion. Who seconded? Both of y'all? 2
Yeah.
seconds? All right, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, let's go to commissioner reports. Janetta, take it here. How many skunks, man?
Alright, y'all hadn't seen any.
I haven't put in one.
But, Gina, she did speak to me, so she spoke about, paving that sidewalk on,
You should reach it.
Depot Street. And also, I went down Academy.
Yep.
Academy Street needs to be repaved. There's a lot of patching there.
I'm gonna
And I'm gonna go check Miss, at the post office.
check that sidewalk, please.
Yeah.
Look good.
I will.
Is that-
I
Well,
will.
into that, and what you're saying, Gina, I'll make sure before we do the next dance on Depot, we sweep that street again. That we take that sweeper and sweep that gravel back up in that parking lot.
It's loose gravel that has come up.
Right, yeah. Mhm.
I
But
mean,
that-
it is.
Well, until I can get somebody to fix it, I gotta do what I can do to it. So we'll get it cleaned up out of our street and back into the parking lot before
In
we have
fact,
the next
I
one.
would like for someone with the fire department to see if that place is even safe.
Where's
If
that?
it would pass, inspection.
What, that building?
Would you, would the.
Oh, Mr. Ward's
board do
place.
that?
You talking about the
Mr.
building?
Ward's
Mr.
place?
Ward's place.
Oh,
Oh, no, we'll check that. I'll have them check that. That's not a.
Which
I'll check
building's
it.
that?
That's the
Well,
last
it
building
relates
on
to
the
those
right
2
now.
buildings.
beside the
It's
post
actually
office.
two separate
It's 2 buildings
buildings.
right there.
Look
Yeah,
at it.
they're together.
The other end.
But he owned both of them, he owned the whole thing.
He owns those 2.
He owned both of them?
Yeah, Mr. Ward does. His name's Clarence Ward. He lives on, what's that street, Kathy? I know, Haney, is it Haney Street? What does he live on? Mr. Ward up there in Statesville owns those, is it Haney? What is the name of that blame street? Yeah, but it's like Haney Street or something like that. I don't know. I was trying to remember. I just saw him, he was working his garden over by there.
He's not even, I bet he doesn't have that place open one day a month.
Well, see, it's not even him that opened it. Somebody rented it from him, put all that stuff in it, and didn't pay the bill.
No, that's his stuff. You're wrong there, Pat. That is his stuff.
Is that his stuff?
That is his stuff.
Well, he can.
The
he can
other
take it.
person opened up a redress shop there.
Hmm.
Oh, Lord.
Okay?
Well, then I'll make sure, I saw him up there the other day. I'll make sure I talk to him.
Well, you
That'll
don't
be
have to
too
do
thin.
more than talk.
He's not a hard person to deal with. All right, John,
Good luck.
is that everything with you?
Yes.
The only thing I had, we had one, request for variance at the, zoning board, 2 weeks ago? That was approved, I've got it here if you need to take a look at it.
No,
That's really
I'm
about
good.
it.
I know what you guys did. All right, that's it.
For the fire department, they had 14 calls for service, 2 MVAs, 38 medical, for a monthly total of 54. Year-to-date, they're up to 420. The apparatuses, there's no current updates. For equipment, the skid plate for the ATV was delivered, and they will have it installed before the Dancing on Depot in August. Special events, continued support of the Dancing on Depot, upcoming events with WRES and WRHS. As far as personnel, Shift coverage is at 99%. One new volunteer, one new part-time applicant. And the station itself, the contract payment was received. As far as police, we'll have the police do it.
July numbers for police department were 73 calls for service, 284 traffic stops with 140 citations, 110 warnings. There were 5 warrants issued, 9 arrests, and 3 traffic accidents. Wow.
Busy month. It's been good.
Yeah.
A lot of stops.
That's a lot of warrants too.
And
too.
Charity's
That's
out
a-
already.
The warrants are what scare me, because
Charity's
some of
out
those people, they,
already.
you know,
Well, what do you,
Well, some of them
Charity's
just-
gonna be out. I hate to break the news to you. There's
They
not
pick
a
up,
lot you
like,
can
on
do with
traffic
Charity.
stops and things. Some
I
of them
thought
are-
she'd be in there
You
for
thought
30
she'd
days.
stay a while.
About
She
30
didn't.
days anyway.
She didn't check in. It's not a hotel. She didn't check in, Jeanette. God
Good luck,
help her.
Ron.
She said, you know, Charity's already out. And I said, well, it's not a hotel she checked into. She's not like she's,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
Well, you know, people can complain, but what do you kind of limited on what you really can do. I mean, people have rights.
The courts have given her an assessment, and she's competent to stand trial in the DA's office. I mean.
there you go.
they're
That's
going
all you
to
got to
handle
say.
it. I mean, it's,
What's that?
That's all you got to say.
Yeah, okay.
you know, adult protective services have been called. There's, you know, there's a few things that have been into play, but she continues to do it.
Yeah.
She's gonna
I'm
get
gonna
She
tell
needed
you
to
what,
be
and
here today.
I hate to
She
say
gonna
this,
get
but I
hit.
have fear
Something
that she is gonna continue
Yeah.
until she
get
is
hit.
run over by somebody.
Yeah.
You know, we hope that doesn't happen, but, I mean.
She's been
I've
close a couple
explained,
times.
you know, all the different options to her.
John Juan,
No, not tonight.
Travis.
As far as maintenance guys, they've been doing a lot of cutting trees back from the water tower, getting that ready, trying to get everything ready for them to paint it. As far as sewer, nothing out of ordinary. Sewer plant, replace sampler, compressor, general worked on a lot of locate steel, mowing, edging sidewalks throughout town, so they've been busy.
All right, they did drain the tank, so if anybody says, where'd all that water on, Academy Street come from, tell them that's the one time we tried to give water away for somebody to fill the pool and there was no takers.
Wow.
So, that's out, I know that valve is something, we'll work on that one to drain the tank. It took Jody and I and a 10-foot pipe to twist that valve open. So while we got the tank drained, it would be a good time to
Replace that
do,
valve.
yeah, that valve, well, I mean, you gotta think, good gosh, even for exercise, it really hadn't been used. How many times we drained the tank, you can remember?
Not many.
How long will it take to, get it all done before we start filling the tank back up?
I don't know, because it goes through, they have to strip all the paint, then they're stripping the paint, checking all the nuts and bolts, putting a new railing around the top, a new vent system on it.
Ladder.
The ladder has to be upgraded and has a lock on it from the bottom, not at the top like it does now. And there was something else, but it's all, I mean, they gotta build, what you'll see first is they'll put a tent around the whole thing. And they'll have to blast it because it's lead paint. So they gotta clean that up and get it out of the way. We might have a few parking issues with police cars for just a little bit. They have to go across the street, but other than that, and then once it's done, it has to be cleaned, and the state has to approve it, and then it comes back online. So if I had to guess, at least 6 weeks, if they start Thursday, at least 6 weeks, because of the extra work they're doing to the tank. It's not only getting repainted, it's, I mean, they're going through, they're checking the footings, they're checking, I mean, it should be good to go.
Do we have
many,
any
many
idea
times.
how much a new valve would cost?
Oh, on that, no, it's not gonna be bad. I mean, we probably got one in the maintenance building, we just got to dig it up and replace it while there's no water coming through it. So,
Put the gauge into your office too, so you can.
that'll help tremendously. I think it's something we can do, cause I don't think that valve's deep in the ground. It's not way down 10, 12 feet, so that'll help a lot. As far as me, we did send
the paperwork to Josh Stein and to his guys to get through to see how that is for water for the sewer plant, cause you obviously heard the longer we wait, the more expensive it gets, and there's no way for us to realistically pay for it unless we get that money. We did get from Julia Howard, when you see Julia and she's at the Lions Club or anywhere else, make sure you go hug her neck, tell her thank you. In total, we got $600,000 from Julia. No other town in Rowan County got money. Salisbury got money from Harry Warren. He gave all of it because it was his $1 million, he couldn't divvy it up between everybody, so he gave all his money to the United Way. But when he wrote the email, it sounded like he gave us money, but it wasn't him, it was Julia. We got all our money from her. We did not get money from the Senate because we did not ask for money from the Senate, because we're holding on to that money going into this sewer plant thing. When I went to Raleigh and I went in his office and he said, I've got requests from everybody, how come I don't have one from Cleveland? I said, I can give you 30 million reasons. He said, I'm very aware of what they are. Thank you for not sending me this paperwork. I got you covered. And I said, okay, that's what I needed to know, that you can help us with that. So that's that part. I did get a call last week from the state, and they're looking at this land back here. You've heard me mention that. That is a company that builds condiments, that makes condiments for restaurants. And so they would have a lot of water usage and sewer usage, but it is it's not, I would say, how do I say, I guess tainted water.
Gray water.
It is processed water, which would be good. That would be another 125 jobs. It would end up being about 250 in 8 years by their projections, but you also know how companies make projections, and sometimes they don't reach that goal. If y'all haven't heard, Daimler also said they are closing their production operation in Oregon to move it to
Cleveland, Mount Holly for right now.
Yeah, Cleveland, and then we're gonna pick up on it because they've been painting cabs in Cleveland and sending them to Oregon because they can't paint them in Oregon because of the EPA. So that means that means all of Daimler's, every bit of their production would be in North Carolina or South Carolina, right here in this region.
Besides Mexico.
Yeah, but in North America, that would be, well, I guess New Mexico is North America, but in the United States. So my big push is to say, hey, let's make why don't you bring the corporate headquarters here? It makes no sense for the corporate headquarters to be on the West Coast and your production in North America or in the United States to be on the East Coast.
Now, isn't the CEO of the United States, he's supposed to be in Oregon, but he refuses to live there, so.
Well, that's the second guy in charge that lives in Fort Mill. I say Fort Mill, not Rock Hill. But the guy that is the president of Daimler North America is
O'Leary.
Yeah, he said the best place he ever lived when he was running the bus plant in Thomasville, and that's where he would love to come back to. So I hope that leads to, let's sell a building in Oregon and move over here, but I can't help you with that. But Daimler's also wanting to build a plant here to build those heavy trucks, because what they were building in Oregon was just super heavy trucks, and it's, Travis, make sure I say, is all the research and development, there was a lot of that there, so you got all your engineers out there. So I don't know what that brings. If you look, the chamber, that's where I was earlier this evening, was at a chamber thing. Elaine is retiring. She is being replaced by Dr. Christine Lynn, who was a business professor at Catawba. She will be the new chamber president, and she knows they won't make the announcement till tomorrow, but they've already got somebody else take her place that is coming up as president-elect. We have that, and off the top of my head, that's
Do we have a home for them if they wanted to put their headquarters here in
Sure.
Cleveland? We would have a place.
Yes, we would. We sure
We
would.
could knock down your house, put it there.
Well, if they wanted to, that would be fine too, but I'm pretty sure there's not enough footprint for what they
No.
wanna do, but yes, there's possibly a place for that. And the thing, I mean, you think about it, Mac's world headquarters is next to Volvo's world headquarters, which is in Greensboro. Well, is that Greensboro or Winston? How you call that?
It's in between.
It's kind of like Tweenerville.
Almost Kernersville.
Yeah, it's a cheerleading company. That's where it's at. But it's that's, I don't know if that prompts them to move over here. I know 70% of the population is east of the Mississippi, so that'll, maybe that's part of it. I don't know. All right, we've covered that. Is there any new or unfinished business?
I'll make a motion, we hire a new maintenance worker. I'm not gonna say his name, cause we gotta make sure he's gonna take it and all that, so.
Yeah.
I'll
For
second
$20
that.
an hour.
Okay, there's your motion. Is there
Second.
2 seconds. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Opposed, like sign. All right, let's do,
The car.
yeah, we've got a car, we put it on Gov bids or whatever, we put a $14,000 minimum on it. We got nowhere near that, or close, but not close, not, you know, like horseshoes and hand grenades, I guess. If we would go, Travis has come in and said, hey, I'll give you what you asked for it. I'm fine if we do that. Because we put it on Gov bids and it was out there.
Well, we were high bidder anyway,
Yeah, well, y'all were, but I mean, it's not.
but I'd give you what the,
It gives what we were asking off of that, and that saves us from not paying anybody else. I'm fine with that, cause. let's put it
Legalities
out.
is okay, right? As long as
I
that's
mean,
okay,
yeah,
I'm okay with
everything's,
it.
I mean, like I say, we set it out for bid to see what would
Yeah,
happen, so.
we did our due diligence.
We didn't get close, and Travis is offering to do that. Just remember that when you see that white car to Dodge, that's what you gotta remember, if that's it, cause there'd be a young driver, we might need to put yellow on it, put rookie on the around it all, and see if that helps any, and a roll
some of
cage
that,
all around.
safety tape.
Say, yeah,
They put on fire
that might be it,
trucks
but
and
I personally, I mean, cause we've gone through and put it out to bid, and I'm asking you guys to think it's not, I don't see a conflict of interest after we've already bid it out.
I
and
think
getting a
we
high
did our
bid.
due diligence already, and
I'm fine if you guys are with that, cause it's sure been out there, it couldn't,
just curious, what did it bid up to?
like 13 something, I don't even know, it wasn't,
And he was high bidder anyway,
yeah.
so
They had bid it, high bid then, but
give it to
14
him
is
for
where we
his high
bid
bid
it.
and go from there.
Yeah. So the high bid, what we said was 14, that's what they were willing to give it, I'm happy if we sell it for that, I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah.
So I need a motion to move in that direction.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Opposed, like sign. Bring us a check. That's easy
I'll
enough.
get
We're
Joy
not gonna- Tell Joy to bring a check. And check, there you go. Yeah, let Joy pay for that. All right, good deal. Is there anything else under new and unfinished business? If not, we have, go ahead, Christine.
Story Walk, we've got on September the 18th, we are gonna have a ribbon cutting with Rowan Public Health and Rowan Literacy Council. They provided a grant of $7,500. I've got you each an invitation for the community event, that's at 3:30 that day. And then we wrote copy today for you to review, if you'll get me feedback on that about the park. And that's that. We also have worked with Dr. Williamson at the school. That day during the day, we'll host 630 children to introduce them to improving literacy and the walk with the teachers. And the teachers will plan to do monthly workshops at the school.
And
with
also,
the stories.
Gina, for you, and I got ready to call and let you know that our complete intentions are to name this the Danny Gabriel Veterans Memorial Park, but we will do that on Veterans Day.
I've got a question about why it's gonna have veterans in there, cause Danny wasn't a veteran.
No, but that's what he always said, man, I'd like to have. I've heard him sit up here and say, man, I'd love to have a Veterans Park.
The plan
So
is
we
to
can
have
make-
a veteran memorial in the middle of it too.
But we were gonna name it after Danny, cause he sat right here.
He always
multiple
wanted to
times.
do
He said,
that.
man, I'd like for us to have a Veterans Park. So I wanted to tell you that, but we were gonna introduce Story Walk by itself because of Rowan literacy and all that, and then go back and do the veterans thing. We've also talked with the veterans group that meets at, Christ Episcopal, and some of those guys said, hey, we'll help you raise the money for that. to put a Veterans Memorial in it, so we're trying, and last time we met with them, I even charged them and said, hey, I need for you guys to come up with an idea. Tell me, I said, I didn't earn the right to come up with an idea for a Veterans Memorial. I mean, the park, yes, but show me what, you know, what you're thinking memorial. And the one thing I got out of all of them right quick was make sure you put the flags on it. That was their whole thing, put flags up, make sure they're in order now. Didn't know there was an order, but.
And Daimler's Veterans Committee's also wanting involved in it.
So we stand to make do it really right, but that's the whole thing, and that is Veterans Day. And even the guys up there said, hey, that's the right time to do that, so to let you know, so don't go anywhere Veterans Day, stay home. It's November 11th?
Yep.
Knew John would know that, had faith in him. Not yet, not yet.
11/11.
That'll be it, we'll have that done.
1918.
All right, anything else anybody can think of? That being the deal, somebody hit me wrong.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you very
Second.
much.
Second.
Hey, so we gonna do it?
Yeah.
I think
I'd like to speak to all of them.
All right.